Good morning, guys. From Mexico City, how are you doing? I am great. This morning I am taking a coach all the way from Mexico City to Acapulco. It's going to be about 5 hours long, this one. It's supposed to be a nice coach, so I guess we'll find that out when we get on board, won't we? The terminal's right behind me. It looks like quite a big place. I haven't been in there yet, so I need to grab some breakfast. Why don't you come with me for the trip and I will see you on board. Cheers for now.
The main coach station in Mexico City is the Central de Autobuses del Sur Terminal Tasqueña, which is at the southern end of Metro Line 2 at Tasqueña. Now, between the two, you walk through a kind of tunnel of street vendors where you can buy anything you want for the journey ahead. Well, I resisted the temptation and just made my way inside, where I found it wasn't particularly busy, and despite its size, it was easy enough to navigate. And as you can see, there are plenty more shops inside the terminal, and lots of coach services using it as a departure point too. I did need to find out which gate my coach would be going from, so I thought the best thing to do would be to find the Estrella de Oro desk, just ask. And the girl there very kindly wrote me a note with the relevant details, so yeah, then it was just a matter of getting some provisions for the journey and sitting around waiting.
Okay, right, I think I'm at the right gate. Unfortunately, it looks like the screen's broken, so there's a guy that comes out with a loudspeaker occasionally shouting something, so I think I'm going to have to wait until that happens and listen out for the word Acapulco, at which point I think I'll just be able to get in line and I'll go through that door and we'll get on the coach wherever that may be. So yeah, wish me luck. This is the most difficult part of the journey, and hopefully I'll see you again when I get on the bus.
So I showed my ticket and made it through the gate where there are three very similar looking coaches waiting. Note the cards here where you can help yourself to free water, snacks and headphones for the journey ahead. Now once I'd figured out which coach was mine, there was another ticket check, then a quick bag search, and then some proper arms in the air full body pat down security that I had to undergo before I was actually allowed to board. Talking about security, the driver's area I noticed was totally sealed off from the rest of the coach, which was a very strange feeling, especially when you're travelling along. And you'll see this in more detail a little bit later on in the journey. But yeah, since I'd been in Mexico, the one big thing I'd noticed was the amount of police and security forces, which were like literally everywhere you looked. And now overall, I think it's fairly reassuring, but yeah, it did make me wonder how it had gotten so bad that it needed to be like this in the first place, I suppose.
Oh my god. Well, I managed to get on. There's all sorts of women and arguing about the ticket and security check, proper security check as well. There's so much stuff in my bag, crisps and things, that I think she took a cursory glance in the top and left it at that. But yeah, I've made it. I'm just hoping now that the seat next to me is going to be left free, which will be great, won't it?
Well, it turned out the seat was left free, but look at the size of them anyway. I don't think I'd have felt cramped, even if there had been somebody sitting next to me. A few more people got on board, and we all settled back into our seats for the journey ahead. And the driver enabled the TV screens, and we were going to be treated to the film Bohemian Rhapsody, whether we liked it or not, it seemed. Then we reversed off stand, 9 minutes late, but then proceeded out into the Mexico City suburbs. Now, my coach today was an Irizar i8, and travelling in one is, according to their website, a unique sensory experience. Well, I don't know about that. I think I had one of those a few weeks ago travelling on the megabus, but I'll tell you what, they do, along with some of the other coaches parked up here, look really nice, don't they? How do you think they compare with the likes of Megabus or Flixbus, for example? Depends on the price to a certain extent, doesn't it? And yeah, I'll tell you how much I paid for my journey a little bit later on in this video. And don't forget, guys, if you like what I'm doing, it would be really great if you could leave me a super thanks by clicking on the heart with the $sign. And that would really make my day. So any donations always go straight back into making more content for the channel. Cheers. We were soon out of the city and onto the Autopista, the toll road, heading south. And it was here that I caught my first glimpse of the Mexican army and their machine gun equipped patrol vehicles. So I thought it was probably best to stop filming at this point, just in case. And as we leave Mexico City behind, a little bit about the coach company Estrella de Oro, who are celebrating their 100th anniversary this year in 2022. And they started out on this route to Acapulco in 1932 using imported US buses. The travel time in those days was about 9 hours. And in 1968 they introduced 4-axle buses called Patones, and a couple of years later added smoking rooms and attendants to these services. And it was in the early 90s that they really started with the high-end luxury coach services that we see today. And I'll look in detail at their 4-class model a little bit later on. But the present day fleet is, one of the most modern in Mexico, operating the CDMX to Acapulco route at a frequency of around 50 coaches a day in each direction. Right, so we'd reached the city of Cuernavaca. Queen was still doing their thing on the TV screens, and I thought it was a good idea just to have a look at the seating area at this point. And note firstly the paper antimacassars on the headrests, and you have a coat hook here if you need it. Beneath that I would have expected to find a drop-down table, but no such luck unfortunately. Well, there was a large pouch for drinks etc, and 4 USB sockets plus a multi-plug socket, which was very useful. There is a retractable footrest, which I always think gets in the way, to be honest, but absolutely loads of legroom, as you can see here. And after checking with the person behind me, I've reclined my seat a little, and you can see that there is a lower part that extends to add a little bit of extra comfort. Now here's a better view of the seat in the upright position. Really comfy, as I said, and there are also winged headrests and thick padding in all areas. By the side of the seat is a cup holder and the lever for the recline. You also have the audio controls for the TV amongst other things if you need it. Between the seats is an armrest which turns 90 degrees for reasons I have yet to figure out, so if anybody knows please let me know. There are curtains at every window, and above the seat are individual air vents and reading lights, which didn't work on this occasion, and maybe they were switched off during the day, so I'll give the coach company the benefit of the doubt on this one. And most people had their seats reclined a little bit at this point, but there was lots of space. I mean, ultimately this coach has a seating capacity of just 36, and that makes a massive difference, doesn't it? Now you can also see here a clearer view of the protective area between the passengers and the driver, the door actually being kept locked during transit. One thing to note, there is no Wi-Fi on board. Estrella de Oro don't offer it or advertise it, to be fair, so don't expect it on this particular service. Right, so we were just south of Alpayeca now on Route 95D, which we would stay on all the way down to Acapulco. And enjoy the scenery as we head towards the state of Guerrero and its mountainous terrain. After crossing the Puente del Sol bridge, we reached another toll booth at Paso Morelos. On the other side of this, we pulled over and some random guy got on board to count the passengers. Well, I think that's what he was doing anyway. And then he got off again. And outside the coach were armed police in riot gear carrying machine guns, as per usual. And then the driver got off and had a drink from one of the roadside vendors. And after that, we just got on our way again. No one got arrested or shot, so I've got no idea what it was all about, really. But yeah, if you know, then please leave me a comment, because I would love to find out what was going on. Okay, so we crossed the Atoyac River on the amazing Mezcala Bridge, and most people were asleep by now, so I thought it was a good opportunity to check out the men's toilet at the rear of the coach. And note I said men's toilet here because, yeah, there's actually, believe it or not, 2 toilets at the back of the coach, male and female. Now, once I'd figured out that this was a sensor and not a push button, everything went smoothly. The hot water was dispensed and soap was plentiful. Paper towel seemed to double as toilet paper as well. The flush was on a sensor too, but yeah, generally speaking, it was a pretty good toilet. Clean, everything worked, all that you need really. I'm making my way back to the seat. You get an idea here of how spacious the coach really is. But don't you think it's a bit weird not being able to see where you're going due to the security partition at the front of the coach? Well, I guess you get used to it after a while, but yeah, a needs must, I suppose. We passed another Estrella de Oro coach near Chilpancingo, or one of their Primera class vehicles. Now, Estrella de Oro have 4 classes of coach, the very top of the range being the Diamante service, and that's got an onboard cafeteria and just 24 seats laid out in a 2-1 configuration. You know, I would have loved to have tried one of these, but yeah, unfortunately the times and destinations just didn't work out for me this time around. Next is the Plus class, which is the service I'm using today. And then we have the 42-seat Gold Star, which I think includes the one we just passed. And then we've got the Los Galgos, which are the economy coaches, with 49 seats but no toilet facilities. So about 3.5 hours in, we make another stop at a place called Palo Blanco, or White Stick. Now, as we pass the National Guard on their armoured vehicles, I try and film a bit using my plastic bag of rubbish as cover. It doesn't really work, but yeah, there's someone else waiting for us with a clipboard who gets on and walks up and down the coach looking at us again. Maybe they're making sure no one's got on or off during the journey? Not really sure, but there are no stops to pick up or drop off passengers on this route, so it would kind of make sense, that, wouldn't it? Again, nothing much happens and we were allowed on our way, heading out over the Viaducto Palo Blanco, and we pass through the Sierra Madre del Sur mountain range and begin to descend down towards the Pacific coast. Do you know, I'm really excited at this point. I cannot wait to see the ocean. Just have a bit of a paddle and walk across the golden sands of Acapulco Beach. We pass some more soldiers and armoured cars, and then we're pretty much in Acapulco. But before we arrive, I wanted to tell you how much I paid for this 5-hour journey. And booking a few weeks in advance, it cost me 504 Mexican pesos, which is equivalent to just over £20 sterling, and that's for a total distance of approximately 380 kilometres. And now, considering the excellent quality of the coach, the in-coach entertainment, free water, free snacks, and that's pretty good, isn't it? But let me know what you think. Would you be more inclined to pay a little bit more for a coach like this in Europe or the US, for example? I'd be really interested to know, so as always guys, your comments would be much appreciated. So on to Acapulco. I've got to be honest, I was initially a bit taken aback by what I saw. When you think about this world famous city, I guess the only thing on your mind is the golden sands and the azure blue ocean of the beachfront. And I'm just as guilty as anybody else on that, but yeah, entering Acapulco by coach, you really do see a different side to it, and how most of the local population live as well. What do you think about the local bus service, for example? It's a bit basic, isn't it? But then of course they do also rely really heavily on tourism. Now I reckon most tourists fly in, and then they'll get a taxi to their hotel, and then they'll stay there, and they'll never see this side of the city. And I must say, I wouldn't feel particularly safe straying away from the tourist areas myself, and especially on my own, so yeah, you can't really blame them in that respect. Anyway, we battled through the traffic and eventually we made it to the central bus station, which is the one that most Estrella de Oro coaches use. Well, it's not a particularly glamorous entrance, is it? But yeah, there's loads of different coaches here, including one of those black Diamante ones I was telling you about earlier. And we made it onto stand about 5 minutes early. I hung around for a couple of minutes taking photos. It's such a good looking coach, isn't it, this one? And then it was a really easy and well signposted walk upstairs to the taxi rank, where I jumped into the first available car and was driven to my hotel. Okay then guys, we are here at Acapulco. What do you think of that? 5 hours, a coach journey, all the way down from Mexico City to Acapulco. Some nice scenery on the way, wasn't there? I must admit, when we got to Acapulco, it was a bit of a culture shock, to be honest. But we made it. I've just got a taxi from the coach station all the way down to the hotel. And I've got to say, it's not a bad room, really. On the 11th floor. Let's have a little look at the view, shall we? That's not too shabby, is it? Let's be honest, it's worth the trip. I'm going to check out the beach in a bit. Well, just check out as much as I can. I'm only here for one night, so let me know in the comments below what you thought of the coach journey, if you've ever been on that coach journey or any journey in Mexico by bus. I'll be really interested to know what your thoughts are. And until next time guys, thank you very much for watching and cheers for now.